Nice.
Absolutely. You know, the broken heart part, there's something really good. You know, I think we've talked about the Teaching with Power YouTube channel. He has some amazing stuff. Y'all should check him out, Teaching with Power on YouTube, because he used an analogy. You know, we've heard the phrase broken heart and contrite spirit, you know, for years. You know, that's a common phrase, you know, we have in the church, you know, it's used, that phrase is used in scripture. But he had a really cool analogy that made me kind of understand it better than I ever have before, when he was talking about the way that horses are broken. And when I thought about it in that way, it completely changed my whole perspective of what it means to have a broken heart, because it's, you know, I think of being sorrowful for my sins and things like that, but it's more than that, because he talks about being like when a rancher, the way, you know, it used to be, you know, there used to be a lot of wild horses, you know, they would catch a horse and break it, you know, quote unquote, break it. And to break it, they, you know, they'd get it and they'd tie it up to they'd have a pole stuck in the middle of the corral, and they'd tie it up and get a good sturdy rope and tie him up. And that horse would just run and run and run. And he'd pull and snatch and jerk and fight for hours and hours and hours until he was just worn out. And then they would, you know, they little by little, they would come up to him and try to get him to calm down. And, you know, there was this long process where he would, you know, he'd calm down a little bit, but then, you know, he'd fight again, and they'd keep on. And they would get to the point finally where what they knew the horse was fully broken, when they could take the rope in their hand, and they didn't even have to pull. They could leave the rope laying in their open hand and lead the horse around. That's the point where the horse, he surrendered his will completely to that of the rancher, whoever, you know, and he wasn't going to fight anymore. He wasn't going to push against them. He was going to go ahead and just do whatever he wanted them to do. And in exchange for that, once the horse was broken, then the rancher, he kind of opens himself up to be taken care of. You know, the rancher would feed him and take care of the horse and give him meaningful work and purpose, and, you know, take care of him if he was sick or hurt. And it really changed my whole perspective, thinking of it rather than in terms of a broken heart being like, oh, I have to be sad and sorrowful for my sins, of thinking like, oh, I need to be broken like a horse, as far as being submissive and not fighting against God, you know, just gonna get to that point where I surrender my will to him, and just like the horse, and say, okay, God, here I am. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm not going to push against you. I'm here. You tell me what to do, and I'm going to do it. And
that's a great analogy.
It was beautiful to me.
That.
It really did change my whole perspective. And he even mentioned that it might even be a better way to say it could be taming our hearts, because it really is. You know, we have these wild, rebellious hearts.
Yeah.
And, you know, the broken heart is really a tamed heart, where we've given up our, you know, the natural man, trying to fight against God and surrender completely to his will.
Right.
I love that.
I like the idea too, that the rancher, did you say the rancher? Was that who?
Yes.
Yeah. So the rancher, the patience that he had to have, he didn't know if that horse he was going to allow that horse to run around for 2 hours or for 2 days or for 2 weeks, but he had to have patience to wait for that horse to be ready because there was nothing he couldn't force that horse to be ready. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He had to allow that horse to start submitting his will. You know what I mean? And I thought that's what came to my mind as you were saying that, Kenny. It's pretty cool.
And
the Lord's very patient and merciful with us too.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And there's the scripture, can't quote it or give it to you, but that goes right along with that is scripture about bridling our passions. Right?
Oh, yeah.
A horse has a bridle in
Yep.
mouth.
Yep.
Metaphors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta love them.
Can't beat them.